Hello, welcome to this MyAccess Administration Training presentation. This is brought to you by the Office of Assessment and Accountability, OEAA, and the Test Administration and Reporting Division. This presentation covers the supported independence and participation assessments under the MyAccess Alternate Assessment Program. We will start this presentation with some items that are new this year. The OEAA Secure site now has several alerts for its users. There are warnings for multiple pre-identifications of students across different programs. There are also warnings flagging students for special education when identifying them for an alternate assessment. These are designed to help prevent students from being over-tested in error or inappropriately tested. The OEAA has enhanced the electronic device policy document for test security this year. This policy document is available on the MyAccess webpage and in the test administration manuals. This updated guide provides extensive information for district and building coordinators to develop internal security policies and protocols. More details are included in the resource section of this presentation under the topic of security. This next section covers the MyAccess assessment information and provides an overview of the MyAccess Alternate Assessment Program. MyAccess is designed for students with the most significant cognitive disabilities, whose disability or multiple disabilities significantly impacts cognitive functioning and adaptive behavior, and are also supported with the majority of their instruction based on the Michigan's alternate content expectations. MyAccess is not intended for students with mild impairments or solely with high incidence of types of disabilities, for example, learning disability or speech impairment. MyAccess is not intended for students solely with a behavioral or sensory perceptual type of impairment, such as emotional impairment or hearing impairment. MyAccess is not a default assessment for all students with moderate to high or specialized support needs, for example, and not all students with autism. MyAccess is not a default assessment to allow for better student outcomes. MyAccess is designed only for students with IEP goals that are aligned to the alternate achievement expectations in lieu of the general grade level standards. It's also designed for students that meet the inclusion criteria and receive alternate instruction as part of their daily routine. MyAccess also has 3 levels of participation to match the instructional complexity of high, medium, and low. The first level of assessment we will look at is functional independence, or FI. The FI assessments are for students whose IEP goals and objectives align most closely with the high range of complexity of the alternate content expectations. Students at this level typically assess their own personal strengths and limitations and can access resources, strategies, and supports to help them maximize their independence. These are students who, based on his or her disability, are not able to work toward general content standards. The next level of assessment is supported independence, or SI. This is for students whose IEP goals and objectives align most closely with the medium range of complexity of the alternate content expectations. Students at this level require ongoing support in major life roles and may have cognitive and/or physical impairments that limit their ability to generalize or transfer learning. The instructional approach taken for these students is direct and in context and targeted towards specific essential independent living and academic skills. The third level of assessment is participation. And these are for students whose IEP goals and objectives align most closely with the low range of complexity when working toward the alternate content expectations. Students at this level may require extensive and ongoing support in adulthood and may have significant cognitive and/or physical impairments that limit their ability to generalize or transfer learning. They typically are dependent on others for most, if not all, daily needs. The instructional approach for these students targets opportunities for them to integrate all age-appropriate tasks, activities related to their daily living skills, and academic content. For this presentation, we will focus strictly on the supported independence and participation assessments. The guidelines for participation in MyAccess can be found on the MyAccess webpage. By following this link and the QR code, it will take you to the MyAccess webpage, where in the opening header you will find the link to the guidelines. This document can help identify if the MyAccess test is appropriate for the student. However, this is not the only document to consider. The MyAccess webpage also provides a couple of training opportunities under the Assessment, Training, and Resources for Educators section. The first one is the Assessment Selection Guidelines Training, which is a more robust resource to train staff in recognizing what level of the assessment is most appropriate for the student. The second tool is an Assessment Selection Guidance tool, which is an interactive decision-making tool that will walk you through the sequence of yes and no questions and answers to arrive at the most appropriate assessment for the student. Both are excellent resources for IEP teams to make most appropriate decisions for the students. Students will take MyAccess SI and P in the following grade and content areas. ELA and Math is administered in grades 3 through 8 and grade 11. Science is administered in grades 5, 8, and 11. While Michigan does not offer a state-level social studies assessment for SI or P, it is important that students be assessed using a locally developed or approved assessment. The student results for those tests should be documented in the secure site during the Not Tested window in June. This is the same procedure that the state has been requiring over the past several years. The SI and P assessments have two types of items, SR, which stands for Selected Response, and ABO, or Activity-Based Observations. For ELA and mathematic assessments, the supported independents have 20 items and 15 items for the participation level. For the SI Science, there are 18 items for grade 5, 23 items for grades 8 and 11. For participation Science, there are 16 items for grade 5 and 20 for grades 8 and 11. Some have asked over the years if students can be assessed in more than one type of MyAccess assessments, and the answer is yes. MyAccess flexibility will allow for the following. The FI and the SI assessments to be combined, for example, FI Math and SI ELA. The SI and P assessments may be combined as well, for example, SI for ELA and P for Science. The test types, however, must be adjacent. For example, the FI and the SI are adjacent, as well as the SI and the P are adjacent. Non-adjacent types are not permitted. For example, the FI, the functional independence, and the participation. M-STEP may not be split with SI or P. SAT and the PSAT may not be combined with the supported or the participation either. All decisions of assessment use must be documented by the IEP. Students take any combination of assessments? No, there are some limitations. My access flexibility is limited to adjacent levels of testing. Now, this chart shows the limitations between valid and invalid testing scenarios. The left green column outlines the valid testing scenarios based on adjacent levels of testing. The right orange column outlines the invalid testing scenarios based on non-adjacent levels of testing. Please note, for SAT or PSAT, the ELA in mathematics must be administered as a unit and cannot be split between other assessments. Let's take a look at some of the tasks associated with specific roles of your staff. The district coordinator, for example, provides overall assessment support and responsibility for the following. Ensure all students are pre-ID'd and moved from M-STEP to My Access in the secure site as early as possible. Ensure any students removed from the M-STEP are also removed from those test sessions in the Insight portal, and any printed M-STEP tickets are destroyed. Order test materials as needed. Ensure the OEAA security compliance forms are completed by all staff. Ensure procedures for handling materials securely are developed and followed, including a chain of custody for all materials. Complete the MDE assessment security modules through Michigan Virtual at the link shown. Ensure all staff have access and receive test administration training. The district coordinator also assists schools in receiving and returning all test materials as required. They also manage the answer document and test verification process. This is the last chance to make sure all answer documents have been processed and document why students may not have been tested. They ensure any testing irregularities are reported by submitting an incident report in the OEAA secure site. They review and distribute final reports, which will be released in late summer through the secure site. Assessment coordinator training is located on the web page or QR code below. The role of the building or school coordinator for My Access includes the following. Manage all aspects of the assessment in collaboration with the district coordinator. Coordinate staff training for administration and test security at their school. Assist with receiving and returning of test materials as required. Ensure proper implementation of material security procedures at the school level and properly disseminate and collect test materials from assessment administrators. The building coordinator must complete the MDE Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual at the link shown here and also on the web page. Read the Assessment Integrity Guide, also found on the web page. The Assessment Coordinator training is located on the web page and will also be referenced in the resources section of this presentation. Supported independence and participation assessment administrators fulfill a very different role. The assessments are observational and are conducted by two administrators in a one-on-one environment. Administrators need to know the students quite well. The primary assessment administrator, or the PAA, should be a certified professional staff member, such as a school psychologist, related service provider, or teacher consultant, and the primary administrator conducts the testing observations. A shadow assessment administrator, or a second set of eyes, should be a staff member or other school professional, such as a highly qualified paraprofessional, whose role is to observe and score the student responses. The primary and the shadow record student responses for each question on the test. The primary and the shadow administrators score the students' responses to the test items simultaneously, yet independently on the scoring documents, which is provided with the testing materials. The primary administrator will enter all student scores or responses in the online answer document when testing is over. The next section is designed to provide enough resources to answer most of your questions and provide opportunities for training of other staff members. The Michigan Department of Education has developed a guide to all our state assessments, and it can be located on the MyAccess webpage with the QR code or the link below. The Supported Independence and Participation Test Administration Manual, or the TAM, provide the following: general information about the assessment, an overview of what to expect, supports and accommodations, roles and responsibilities, activities before, during, and after testing, materials return section, and as a reminder, May 31, 2023 is the deadline for returning materials this year. And finally, an appendix section with a variety of helpful materials. The MyAccess webpage provides a number of links to the following: the alternate content expectations, which are found in the webpage header, guidelines for participation, also found in the webpage header, the OEAA Secure Site login page, also the Assessment Coordinator Training Guide, our Spotlight Weekly publication link, My School Data link, and the contact information for OEAA. The MyAccess webpage also provides links to the current assessment administration section, which includes Test Administration Manual, Assessment Flowcharts, Guide to State Assessments, DRC Insight Portal link, Assessment Integrity Guide, and the Electronic Device Policy. The MyAccess webpage also provides a link to the Assessment Calendars webpage, where you will find the following: the list of important dates in PDF format, list of assessment program dates in Excel format. A Google Calendar option is also available for those who want to be informed through their calendar what activities are approaching with regards to state assessments. This includes Google Help information and resources for task follow-up. The Spring 2023 Summative Assessment Calendar is available on the Calendar webpage. The MyAccess testing window is a 7-week continuous window from April 10 through May 26th. The calendar includes all of the assessments for Michigan and the appropriate windows for their administration. The MyAccess webpage also includes a training section and resources for educators, which include administration video training, video-based administration training for supported independence and participation, the OEAA Secure Site training documentation, and the assessment security training as well. MyAccess webpage provides a link to the Assessment Security Training webpage in the Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section. The Assessment Integrity and Security webpage provides the following: Assessment Security Practices resources, Test Security and Administration Monitoring, Assessment Security and Planning documents, assessment security training for coordinators, administrators, and staff, allegation reporting resources for misadministration, irregularities, and unethical behavior. Another resource for assessment coordinators is the Assessment Coordinator Training Guide found at this link and on the MyAccess webpage. This guide is a chapter-driven document that provides a brief but important outline of all the aspects of training and assessment. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide provides an overview which includes the Assessment Coordinator Training Quick Reference and Quick Start Guide. The assessment systems includes Introduction to Testing Technology, DRC Insight Portal Basics, Secure Site Training, Educational Entity Master or the EEM resource, Michigan Student Data System, MSDS. Under the Supports and Accommodations you will find Student Supports and Accommodation Overview, Selecting and Assigning Universal Tools, Designated Support, and Accommodations. There is also a test security chapter that includes overview of test security, appropriate practices for test security, and incident reporting. When you are getting ready for testing, we have a variety of documents in the guide that will help you with training and resources. These include pre-identification of students, report codes and research codes, preparing yourself and staff as building coordinator and as a district coordinator, preparing students and parents for testing, initial and additional material orders, MyAccess, who takes an alternate assessment, and MyAccess assessment preparation. The Coordinator Guide provides information for what to do during testing for the MyAccess assessment administrations. There is also a section on the after-testing activities, which include post-administration tasks and reports such as materials return, accountable students enrolled and demographics, and introduction to testing technology. A chapter is also provided focused on the assessment data and reporting, including the preliminary reports, data files, and final reporting. The primary goal of assessment security is to protect the integrity of the assessment and to ensure that the results are accurate and meaningful. The OEAA has a security goal for the state of Michigan to provide secure assessments that results in valid and reliable scores, to adhere to high professional test administration and security standards, to maintain consistency across all testing occasions and sites for schools and students, to promote the investments of resources, time, and energy. The Assessment Integrity Guide provides a number of items including information on prevention and detection of testing irregularities, guidance for follow-up and resolution of any identified testing irregularity, ensure all procedures before, during, and after the testing administration lead to student results that more accurately reflect a valid and reliable measure of students' unique and true educational knowledge, skills, and ability. The guide has been updated for spring 2023 administration and should be reviewed for updated testing policies. It is also located on the MyAccess webpage. The security compliance forms are to be read and signed by all staff involved in state assessments. These are staff agreements for confirming training and proper observance of security processes. They are to be kept on hand at the district for a minimum of 3 years. And it is available on all state assessment web pages, including MyAccess. The OEAA has developed an electronic device policy for testing, which is available in the Assessment Integrity Guide and the Test Administration Manual. This guide is designed to help district and building coordinators develop an internal policy regarding personal electronic devices during testing. The guide includes example of electronic devices, policy for students, policy for test administrators/monitors and staff. It includes best practices or acceptable and prohibited practices for students and staff. All staff members who participate in the administration of a state assessment must be fully trained in assessment security each year. For the building and district coordinators, they must complete the MDE Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual. After completion of the training course, a refresher course is available for subsequent years' training. Also read the Assessment Integrity Guide. Now for test administrators, for room supervisors, proctors, they must read the Assessment Security for Test Administrators document, which is found in the TAM or the Test Administration Manual, Appendix G, page 78, or complete the MDE Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual. Off-site testing is for schools who cannot test on-site at their school buildings. Off-site testing also occurs for individual students when a school is providing educational services to a homebound student, students who are hospitalized during testing window, or students that are expelled with services. The test administrators must be familiar to the student to avoid any distraction and recognize the special needs of the student. The Off-Site Test Administration request is found under the Assessment Registration tab in the OEAA Secure site. Select the Off-Site Test Administration request. The window to submit Off-Site Test Administration request is open now through May 25, 2023. Incidents or testing irregularities frequently occur during testing and must be submitted on the Incident Report page on the OEAA Secure site. There are several common types of incidents. For example, scores submitted incorrectly, SINP scores entered on the wrong online answer document, technical problems with score entry, accommodation or designated support issue, sometimes even prohibitive behavior. An incident report instruction sheet linked here provides details for completing the report. The staff from the OEAA will respond to remedy the situation once the report is filed. The OEAA Secure Site is a web-based application used for managing state assessments and contains FERPA student information. The site is only available to authorized ISD district and school staff members that require it as part of their role in state assessment. The primary functions of the Secure Site are pre-identification of students, ordering test materials, incident reporting, accountable students enrolled, and demographics review, answer documents received and not tested review and submission, access to student data files and score reports. How do I get access to the Secure Site? There are several ways, including instructions can be found at the Secure Site training link. Select the How do I get access to the OEAA Secure Site link and follow the directions. You can also request access at this link. The OEAA Secure Site is a site that you will use quite frequently throughout testing. It's a web-based application that is used in many testing tasks, and a lot of those tasks are done before testing, but there are also a few during and after testing. Before testing, you go to the secure site to pre-identify students for state assessments. Material ordering is driven by the number of administrators, both primary and shadow. Students must be grouped into online sessions, strictly for printing test tickets for score entry after testing. During testing, off-site test administration requests are completed in the secure site. And finally, incident reporting is also completed in the secure site. After testing, you'll do tasks for the accountable students and test verification process in the secure site. And this is where you can access students' test scores, download data files, and access reports that are available in the dynamic score reporting site. Initial material orders are processed through the secure site and are based on your pre-ID counts. IMOs are sent to coordinators by default to the district unless designated to individual buildings in the district. Users may select an alternate delivery date, either March 27 through 29 or April 3 through 5. Additional material orders are also processed through the secure site, but are based on materials selected by the user after the initial window has closed. The dates for ordering materials are listed in the MyAccess Important Dates document found on the MyAccess webpage. Now, while these dates may have passed for this year, they typically fall within the range of similar dates year to year. Please review the list of important dates on the webpage to confirm. This is the Initial Materials Order screen, or IMOs. You search by test cycle, then you can select your shipping destination and your delivery dates. The first date listed is the default date, but you can change that in case there's something happening in your district or building during that week. The address listed is based on the address for the MyAccess coordinator and EEM. Make sure you verify that this is correct so that your materials are sent to the correct place. IMOs are automatically generated based on pre-ID count. This window has closed for spring 2023, but you can view your order from this screen. Please check the list of important dates for the IMO active dates. You can still place material orders if you have any need for additional materials. The window for additional materials orders is listed here, April 6th through May 23rd. These dates are also listed in the important dates documents. When your materials arrive, be sure to inventory all the test materials. Use the packing slip that's included with your delivery to verify that everything listed on the packing slip is included in your order. All secure materials are required to be returned after testing to the contractor, such as testing booklets, picture cards, etc. If not returned, you will be required to locate the missing materials. We need to remedy all material discrepancies at the time of delivery. If you do your inventory and there are errors, send us an email at mde-oeaa@michigan.gov so that we can locate the missing secure materials. On random visits to schools, management of secure materials comes up as an issue in some schools. So this is a reminder. All secure materials must be retained in a secure locked location within the school. This cannot be just in a locked office like the main office cabinet or assessment coordinator's desk, because it's possible that the office can be left unattended and the materials are not secured. Distributing and collecting materials daily apply throughout the testing process, including during the planning stages. Next, all secured materials must be distributed and collected each day. The secure testing materials include administrator booklets, student picture cards, scoring documents, test tickets, and rosters. Make sure you review the TAM or the manual if you have any questions about what are secure materials. The DRC Insight portal was activated for test administration tasks on March 3rd. Students who are pre-ID'd and put into test sessions in the OEAA secure site by February 20th were copied into the DRC portal and put into test sessions. But you can still pre-ID students in the OEAA secure site, and these students will be copied into the portal 3 times a day. These students who are pre-ID'd after February 20th will need to be added to sessions in the portal. This table shows who needs access and the associated secure site role in order for them to have a correct access. Technology coordinators must have access, and the secure site roles they should be assigned are listed here. Either district or school level access, and for school level access, it is either public or non-public schools. District and building coordinators also must have access to work in the DRC Insight portal. They are sorted the same way as technology coordinators, either district or school level access, and the school access is separated into public and non-public schools. The SIMP score entry is an internet-based URL access to the online answer document, not the DRC portal. Building and district assessment coordinators are required to provide training to test administrators before testing. Test administration training includes training in all test administration policies and procedures, including the electronic device policy, scratch paper policy, and requirements for the use of designated supports and accommodations. All test administrators must also sign the OEAA security compliance form and the test directions found in the manual. Assessment security training is also required. One of either completing the assessment security modules on the Michigan Virtual or reading the assessment security for test administrator document is required, but not both. The assessment security for test administrator document is available in Appendix G of the Test Administration Manual and the Assessment Integrity Guide. Very briefly, I will touch on the accommodations and supports for students taking supported independence and participation. Getting ready for the supported independence and the participation administration can involve a great deal of training and planning ahead of time. In this section, we will cover the activities leading up to testing. There are several things to remember when preparing for the assessment. They are: determine who has access to DRC Insight portal and how online student test tickets will be printed and distributed. Note, the test tickets are for score entry only after testing is done. The testing environment for students is important and should consider the following. Breaks are encouraged based upon the student need. The testing observations should mimic daily routines as much as possible. Ensure students are getting all the supports according to the IEP. Plan ahead of time for adaptations to be used during observations. Review testing materials to identify the special needs students may require during testing. Students are automatically registered or pre-identified in MSTEP and must be moved to the My Access in the OEAA secure site by content area in paper pencil and the type, which is supported independence or participation according to the IEP. Ensure the students are removed from any active MSTEP sessions and those session test tickets destroyed. SIMP uploads will place students in sessions to print test tickets for score entry. Test administration manuals provide details on how to prepare for the assessments. Supported Independence and Participation Manual covers the paper pencil materials required and how to use them. The manual also provides instructions for entering students' scores online. The SIP TAM provides administration details from beginning to end, tasks required to complete the testing. The manual is available on the web page. For My Access coordinators and administrators. Coordinators must confirm sessions in the DRC Insight portal and print test tickets for score entry to the online answer document after testing. Administrators must meet to develop a plan for student assessments. Selected response and activity-based observation test items are designed to be instructionally embedded as much as possible. This will require reviewing the test in order to meet the student's needs. Adaptations, substitute classroom items must be planned if administrators use them during testing. Administrators must review the administrator test booklet and become familiar with all of the items and adaptations as well as directions. Primary and shadow administrators must review the rubric found on each scoring document. The SI&P TAM will be the best source for all assessment details. This is the scoring rubric for supported independence and participation. It is important to become familiar with this rubric before testing begins. This will help facilitate more accurate observations of the students if you are familiar with it ahead of time. The participation rubric on the left column is a 3-point rubric, while the supported independence in the second column is a 2-point rubric. The third column describes what the administrators will be looking for in the students' responses. They will score the student according to these responses as they are observing the test. These rubrics will also appear on each of the scoring documents above the response fields. There is a video-based training module for how to administer the supported independence and participation along with the rubric. This training can be found on the MyAccess webpage under the section titled Assessment Training and Resources for Educators. The videos will guide users through preparation for the testing, administering the test, and how to enter scores after testing is completed. Now we will move into the area of test administration and the activities surrounding the day of testing. The administration flowchart for supported independence and participation provides a side-by-side visual of the paper pencil administration and the online answer document score entry features. The chart includes activities before, during, and after testing. The chart includes important dates for assessment activities. It is available on the MyAccess webpage. Several things to notice about the supported independence and participation administration. The booklets for the test are for the assessment administrator's use only, not for the students. The picture cards are for the students' use. The primary administrator leads the administration while the shadow observes. Selected response items are presented with picture cards. It is optional to use classroom objects or comparable picture cards, provided these pictures or objects are what the student is used to seeing during instruction. Activity-based observations are displayed along with an example on how to set up the activity and how to score the student response. Here is a sample item for a participation assessment. In this case, this is a selected response item. The student will be given the question and 2 options to choose from. In this sample question, the items are presented to the student with 2 picture cards. The supported independence materials will include 3 picture cards to present the 3 options. There are several reminders for the supported independence and participation assessments. The content areas are all in a single booklet for administrators by grade. This permits an administrator to use the same booklet for other students in the same grade. The selected response items each will include a read aloud section with instructions to help prepare for the test. Each item includes an adaptation section for visually impaired students and some helpful hints on how to present items. Selected response items are designed to be presented twice in differing orders. Please see the manual on how to present selected response items. Activity-based observation items include a general or specialized instruction section for students who are blind or visually impaired. Activity-based observations are not designed to be presented twice, like the selected response. Here is an example of a selected response item for supported independence. The question includes a table comprised of specialized instructions for administrators and also sample adaptations that administrators may use for students who have visual impairments or blind. This participation sample shows the specialized instructions for administrators, also the sample adaptations that administrators may use for students who are blind or have visual impairments. At the beginning of the activities-based observation section, you will also find general and specialized instructions for students who are blind or visually impaired. Student directions are also provided for the activity-based observations. For each question, there is an activity that is required. In the question itself will also be an example of how to set up the activity. There's also a scoring focus for each question, and this is designed to help identify what you are looking for in your attempts to assess the student. During the observations, the primary and shadow administrators will use a scoring document to record the student's answers. This will help you record the student responses. Complete the form number from the administrator booklet on the scoring document. This also provides the web location link to enter the scores when the observations are completed. The rubric appears in the header in the scoring document sheet. There are no paper answer documents, since the responses on the scoring documents will be entered online. The primary and the shadow administrator simultaneously and independently score the student responses. These scoring documents arrive with the testing materials and may be copied and even downloaded from the MyAccess webpage if copies are needed. Be sure to sign each scoring document and the role as primary and shadow administrator. Here are some reminders and additional administration tips to remember. Students must be enrolled in special education in MSDS. Read the test administration manual for supported independence and participation on the MyAccess webpage. Fill in the form number from the administrator booklet to the scoring documents. This is required for entering the scores online. When all the testing administrations are complete, there are some critical steps to returning and wrapping up all the post-administration activities. We will cover those now for the online and for the paper pencil. The online answer document can be accessed in 2 ways. First, you can use the link on the scoring documents that can be accessed on the MyAccess webpage, or use the link on the login page of the DRC Insight Portal welcome screen. Please note, the online answer document will only be available during the MyAccess testing window. For training purposes, you may watch a mini-module entitled Entering Student Responses in the MyAccess Online Answer Document portal. After the supported independence and participation assessment is given, the primary administrator logs into the online answer document using the student test ticket and the link on the scoring document. The primary administrator will confirm the student information is accurate. They will also confirm the test type and the content area information for accuracy. The scoring documents help the primary administrator transfer all the student scores to the online answer document by confirming the form number from the booklet, accessing the link in the header to get to the answer document, entering all scores to the online answer document. Both the primary and shadow administrators must sign their scoring documents. The primary administrator must confirm the form number at the top of the answer document from the administrator booklet and scoring documents. The scores for the primary are entered at the top in the blue shaded area for participation. The gray area at the lower part of the answer document is where the shadow administrator scores are entered. Each one of these fields have a scroll feature to complete all entry. These are the fields that the primary administrator transfers all student responses from the scoring documents with the online answer document. Note, this is a sample of the participation online answer document. This is an example of the supported independence online answer document. The format is identical to the participation and should be completed by the primary administrator as well. There are a couple of items that might help when entering scores. The score entry to the online answer document is made easier with a touchscreen device. This allows for easier navigation and entry. Users may scroll each of the fields by using the scroll bars on the right or by dragging the screen up or down to scroll through the field. It is very important for the coordinators to inventory all materials before shipping back to the scoring contractor. Use the original materials packing list to verify that all materials listed are included in your returns. All secure materials must be returned to the scoring contractor. If any secure materials are not returned by the materials deadline, MDE will contact the school to locate the missing items. This is important because failure to return all secure materials may result in the district or school being placed on a future monitoring list. The manual provides a materials return section, and it includes material handling tables showing the items to be returned, retained, or destroyed by schools. It also includes the timeframes for retaining or returning items. The link below will take you to the web page where the manuals are posted. The material return section in the manual also provides a packing and shipping diagram, which includes specific details of what material types to return, detailed instructions for the packing sequence, the labeling of the shipment and the shipping deadline. The last day to ship materials is May 31, 2023. In this closing slide, we provide our contact information. Thank you for taking the time to review this training presentation. You may reach the Office of Educational Assessment and Accountability at mde-oeaa@michigan.gov. Questions may also be sent directly to our office at the Help Desk, 877-560-8255. 8378. For weekly updates from the OEA, please subscribe to the Spotlight on Student Assessment and Accountability.